Oh, g'day, mate. 40 here. So I just had a thought that I haven't yet expressed, so I have to go live. So I've been doing some manual labor here. So these hands, they were made for thinking, but now they're doing some manual labor. Anyway, you often hear during this COVID crisis that why is it that whenever tragedy hits, that it's the vulnerable who are most affected? Well, why shouldn't the vulnerable be most affected? Right? When you're vulnerable, that means obviously you got all these more options that can be really devastating to you. So of course, the vulnerable are going to be more affected by anything, whether it's COVID or a war or unemployment. So during COVID, people who made over $60 an hour, they didn't lose any business, right? But people in the United States, I'm talking, but they didn't lose any income really. But people earning under $20 an hour, they were devastated. So yeah, the more skills you have, the more in demand your skills, the more robust you are, stronger you are. Like, why would Darwinian survival of the fittest not operate? So I'm not saying that we should do away with caring for the vulnerable, but of course the vulnerable are going to be hit harder. So I've been traveling, and so when you travel, you get out of your routine and you get out of your delusions, and so you can confront reality in a way that you've been able to avoid by living in a bubble. And so that's what's happened to me. It's a little like a time that I had to move about 10 years ago or so. I had to move, and then my comfy life got blown up and had to look for a new place to move. And then I realized that my options were much more limited than I hoped for because of my financial situation. So I'd been living without thinking too deeply about my financial situation, then I had to move, and suddenly like reality imposes. So when you travel, your routines and your structures and the things that you rely on, they often get stripped away, and it just reveals your core. And from someone who's interviewed, I've interviewed thousands of people. Everyone is more vulnerable, than I expected. Like everyone I've interviewed, I felt their vulnerability. But in the end, survival of the fittest, meaning those who can reproduce and provide resources for their children, of course they're going to do better in any crisis. So to the rhetorical question, why is it that a crisis hits the vulnerable more hard? Why is it that COVID hits the vulnerable communities more hard? Well, why should it not? So it's akin to believing, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, why shouldn't bad things happen to good people? Like, should the laws of the universe be reversed just because someone's a good bloke? Right? Obviously, that's not going to happen. So the more resources you have, the more strength you have, the more versatility you have, then obviously you're going to do better in any crisis. So for all those fancy rhetorical questions like why do the vulnerable suffer more, and why do bad things happen to good people? Why would they not? Come on, mate, get into reality.